led the Big E in the 18th deployment. What was most challenging leading these combat operations in Afghanistan right after 9/11 for you?
I think that the most challenging thing for me was it was the first time in my career, as I mentioned to you earlier, Joe, that I felt that I was safer at sea on my aircraft carrier than my family was at home. And as you recall, in the days after those terrible terrorist attacks, there was so much confusion. We didn't know what was coming next in this country. Were they going to poison the water? Were there going to be more terrorist attacks? And that was weighed on all of our minds on the ship, that our families were very nervous for their own safety, not only ours. But at the same time, we were honored and privileged to be out there on the pointy end of this nation's response to that. I reflected with my crew on the night of the first strikes that we conducted into Afghanistan a month after the attacks, that the last time the United States had been attacked in 1941 by the Japanese, there was a USS Enterprise at sea also. And that USS Enterprise was part of the very first response, actually conducted the first strikes against Japanese-held island, the Marshalls, and that we were having the same opportunity on an Enterprise that was at sea when our nation was attacked. And our young men and women went out and just performed flawlessly. They were all keyed up about it. It was kind of funny because the day of our first strikes was the first day the media pool came out. And remember, this nation hadn't been at war for a long time. And there weren't a lot of military knowledgeable reporters out there. So, you know, the fashion reporter was pressed into service to come out and do that. So this collection of reporters came out, wonderful people, but they didn't know much about us. And they got off the airplane, and there were bombs all over the flight deck, and people were writing FDNY on the bombs, you know, and take that, Osama, and all that kind of stuff. And they were, okay, I guess these guys do this all the time. And I couldn't tell them what was going to happen that night. And all these aircraft take off, and when they were over their targets, I called all the media in and said, thought you'd like to know. This is the first night. I've got to talk to my editor right now. No, you got to wait till they're all safe. But it was pretty interesting.